There you go.
All right. I'd like to call to order the City of Monona Community Media Committee meeting of February 9th, 2023. Will, do you have the roll noted?
Yes, Bill Graff is here. Joe Martin's here. Sue Manning is here. Dave Bruner's here. Anita Ashland's here. Amanda Shahoney's here. Katie Burns Kaiser is here. And we are missing Lois Buckingham.
Perfect. Thank you. Do I have is there a motion to start the approval process for the minutes of our last meeting, which was January 12th?
I move to start the process to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Excellent. Okay, looking those over then, is there anyone who has a suggestion for a change or a correction, anything that needs to be modified about that? Hearing none, motion passes. Minutes are approved. Under unfinished business, we have the naming of the video app that we began discussing in our last meeting. But before we start that, and this was my oversight, I should have had Will add this to the meeting agenda, something very, a tiny little addition. I want to welcome our new member, Bill Graff, to the room. He was with us when we visited the high school as sort of a visitor, and now he's officially part of our team. So thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
All right. Bill, could you just say a few words about yourself if you're prepared to do so? Maybe give just a little background of what you've done with your life. And why you're interested in being on the committee.
Totally not prepared, but yeah, I'd be happy to. I have lived in Monona for over 30 years. I have had a son and daughter graduate from Monona Grove High School. My wife, Mary Ellen, used to teach at Glacial Drumlin and at Winnequa. So have been in the community for a long time. And also used to work in local media as a radio reporter at WTSO and Z104, WIDA, and then as a TV reporter at the state capitol. Also worked in politics as a state legislative aide for a while and have been at UW-Madison for the past 15 years until just recently. Retired from full-time work there, but I'm now working as a semi-retired, I guess you could say, freelance writer and editor. So happy to be here, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're really happy to have you here, Bill. Thank you. I'm just really thrilled that you are interested in joining our happy bunch. Wonderful. Now let's move on to our unfinished business of naming the app. Thank you, Will, for sharing the document in a way that we can add our own ideas. I think people had sent those in between our last meeting and tonight. So Will had a really nice place to start from. But today, if you had any last minute ideas, of course, those may have been added. So, Will, it is my understanding that we need to make a decision tonight. Is that accurate?
We don't have to, but the new system is in place, and essentially, in order to move forward, we do need to make a decision. We can not get the app running for as long as we want, but yes. So I think ideally, yes. I should have just said yes. We absolutely have to make a decision tonight, otherwise the equipment blows up.
And
don't say that. I was the last one to use it.
Right.
Also, in addition to the list that Will sent, I think we all received Dave's document, which kind of laid out some really great graphical possibilities of what icon could look like. So I'm just going to go into that document now, and I believe it's the same one that you sent to us earlier, right? There's no change. So let's just I'm going to open that up, and but that's not I'm not seeing the changes I made. Can you open it up, Will, and share your screen? I was just opening it from the email.
Oh, maybe that's yeah, let me get in there and do that.
Thank you to everyone who submitted ideas. Really, really good stuff. Thank you. That's wonderful. Okay. Perfect. So I just took the list and put it in alphabetical order. I think I may have added one change, maybe probably just a version of what was already there. But I just thought alphabetical order was the least just neutral way to present all the ideas. And it was clarified, Will clarified that we don't need to limit the name to 12 characters in order for the app to function, but only 12 characters will display on the screen. Is that correct, Will?
Yeah. So, I mean, when you open the app, the full name would show, but just seeing like the icon on your home screen, like you do with everything else, it would just, just get cut off.
Yeah. Okay. So probably best that we stick to 12 characters. I'm not sure how we want to go about this. Do we want to take a preliminary voting round, or do we want to first have just general, and perhaps that's the way to do it, just some general conversation about sort of the groupings that we're seeing here? There's a group sort of that starts with the word Monona. There's a group that starts with My Monona. There's a group that starts with WVMO or VMO. And I'm going to try to pull up that document on my screen also so that I can just have it in front of me and scroll up and down as I care to. Let's see. Well, I'm trying to, I don't know why I'm not finding it in my email. Anyway, yeah, so there you have it. So some of those names, we've got a lot that begin with Monona, and maybe we could start by just talking about those groupings in terms of what's the benefit of starting it with VMO? What's the benefit of starting it with My Monona or Monona? And then once we narrow that down, then maybe we discuss some of the pros and cons of the suffix, for if you want to call it that. So would anyone like to begin? I know in the last meeting we did talk a lot about starting it with VMO or WVMO. It was also discussed in our last meeting, starting it with, I don't know if we actually talked about this, but we did bring up My Monona in the sense that the city is already using that phrase in their website and in the newsletter. And I think we talked about the word Monona just so that people could find it, just search for it. Does anyone have anything to add? Will, I'm seeing your notes. I don't know if that's what you intend. If it is, then that's fine.
Teresa, I just had a couple things that I wanted to touch on. One is that I have talked with some people who, work in web marketing and things like that, who felt it would be the most effective to stick with a very literal kind of name for it. So, some of the wordplay and the things, and I put some things in here that I thought were kind of fun and silly, but from a usefulness perspective and from being able to find this in a search, it was suggested to me that sticking with very obvious literal things like video or media and Monona would be, easier for people to find and remember than going with some of the more abstract kinds of names.
Teresa?
Yeah, go ahead, Susan.
I have some ideas too, and actually my thoughts I think are fairly similar to Bill's, and that is if we use WVMO, it sounds like, and we talked about this at the last meeting, I thought there was kind of some feeling about that, some general feeling, and that is if we use the WVMO, then it sounds like it's only radio. And I mean, you do your city council meetings, your community committee meetings, our school board meetings, and people watch these. And they're very interested. And we just had 12 candidates apply for one school board position. It was absolutely incredible. And people were watching this. If it says WVMO, I'm not sure people are going to link into understanding. So that does take us back to something that's maybe not as exciting, and that is My Monona Media. But the other ones that were kind of fun, that blends the two, is Voice of Monona, because your voice can either come visually or just through your hearing. Show Me Monona, I thought that was kind of fun. And Monona Live, I mean, here we are, the best kept secret. And actually, I'd be interested in Katie's thoughts too, because similar to Bill, she has a great amount of experience in this area.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I'm happy to go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm happy to share, but I don't want to take over if anybody else has something.
No, go ahead, please.
I just wanted to, I would say, I agree with Bill, some of these like more straightforward, and I also agree with Susan. And I tend to lean towards, and I think I said this last time, the Voice of Monona, mostly because that's of the community media pieces. I do think in the community that's the most well known. My Monona Community Media isn't a name that people recognize, I don't think, and people, I think, do understand what WVMO is, and that Voice of Monona is attached to that, and so that this would be a growing of that. And I think that's the point, right? Is that we're trying to make sure that more people know what community media is, what they do, what we do, and what is available and offered. So that's, I mean, my personal feeling is that the umbrella is sort of Voice of Monona, WVMO is the radio. Maybe there's some other, Voice of Monona video media, I don't know, but if we're limited on characters. Will, I had a question for you, because I think that Teresa is correct also in the search. Having Monona in the search would be really important, and Voice of Monona wouldn't fit in those 12 letters or characters, because especially with the space. Would Monona still show, would it still show up in a search if somebody said Voice of Monona? Because once you know where the app is and you add the app to your Apple TV or your Roku, it's there and you're going to know it. But when you're looking for it,
right,
would it still show up even if it's not on the display?
Yes, we have. So for Android and iOS, it's a little different. The keywords that you can put in to obviously have your app show up, I believe I'd have to look up the paperwork that they gave me, but it was we have like 30 characters, or no, like 90 characters for keywords for people to search. And then we also have a description, which doesn't help search, but we fill in a description. So depending on the words that you put in your description, or excuse me, in your keyword search, would dictate people showing up. And I think Voice of Monona would be a good one to put in there, along with Monona and Monona Grove and WVMO, you know,
Yeah.
running the gamut of what people might
think of. Yeah.
Well,
So
is
Will, are
this
you
the-
talking about like metadata? Like you can tag certain words for the purposes
That's basically
of
what it
searching?
is, right?
Basically,
Metadata,
yeah.
so that when people
Okay,
type it in,
okay. And we would
And-
do that no matter what we call it. Even if we called it WVMO TV, we would still tag, we would still use Monona as metadata, just so
absolutely.
you know. Okay,
Yeah. And some variations of that, like my Monona, you
right.
know. Yeah.
Well, and Will, did you say that this tag piece is limited to 12?
Not the tag, just what shows up on your phone. So when you open up your phone
Oh, okay.
and you're ready
Okay.
to click on an app, you wouldn't think about it, but if you look at it, it only displays 12 characters. So
Okay. Because we could do, if we, instead of Voice of Monona, which I really do like that better, we could do Monona Voice. And then we'd
Right.
be within the 12. But if that's not a restriction, then we don't have to be concerned about that.
The only concern, Susan, if we go with Voice of Monona, is that it would either be, if it's all one word with no spaces, it would be 13 characters. So it would say Voice of Manon, the A would be cut off. If you put it all together without the spaces, you could use camel case. So you have like upper, lower, you know, you could have uppercase on each of the first 3 words. If you want to separate them out into 3 separate words with, you know, spaces, it would be Voice of MON that would appear on the bottom of the icon. Monona Voice would be the solution to that.
I guess I would also just say we could also take out the of, and just because I mean I'm just looking at my phone and like how teeny tiny, I mean, you can't even, it's blurring, but like how teeny tiny, I don't look at that. I look at the app visual.
The icon,
but
yeah.
so you could always, so it could always be Voice Monona. I'm not sure people would notice either. That would fit, but.
Katie, can I ask you, what is it that appeals to you? The phrase Voice of Monona, what do you see as the benefits of that?
I mean, I personally think it's just a really nice tagline. I think it, you know, it came together from the community, right? Correct me if I'm wrong there, Will, that like it was when WVMO was started, it sort of all came together with the call signs, that was a community grassroots thing.
Yeah, that was well, when we had our contest for the call letters, that's what somebody came up with, was Voice of Monona and then WVMO for the call letters. So obviously that's what stuck, and yeah, I would agree. It's a very apropos name for a community radio station.
I
will just say quickly, and I won't derail, because I was the one screaming WVMO or VMO last time. I have since reconsidered, and I am on board with the Monona, my Monona, some type of Monona. That makes plenty of sense, but I am gonna somewhat refrain, because I want you guys to. I don't want to dictate too much, and I want to keep on track. So that's all I had to say.
To Katie's comment about the Voice of Monona and how it came about, that is also how I feel it came about, but I also strongly associate it with the radio station and nothing else. I don't associate it with any other media in Monona. It's WVMO, the voice of Monona. It is about WVMO, is what that tagline is about. Now, if you're saying that we can have VMO and then we can have the voice of Monona, and they can be two different things, or the video of Monona, the voice of Monona and the video of Monona, you know, that ability.
Yeah, I think for me, it may be just a history. Sorry, Teresa, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to hear what other things you have to say. I'm just, so go for it.
Yeah, I do too. And I don't, this is the last thing I'll say, because I'm kind of with Will. Like, this is my preference, but it's a personal preference. It's not, you know, I'm not going to die on this hill, but I guess it's a history of a lot of conversations with Will over the years, just because of our partnership at work, that this is our work too, that of actually like trying to expand the positive association that people have with the radio station, which is very, very positive in the community, and extending that to the other pieces of communication. So taking that, yes, yes, I totally agree. It is a radio thing, and let's share the love with the rest of the community media pieces. Sure. And that's really the purpose of it, right? Is to take something that people have a really great feeling about and really love and identify with, and understand what it is, and just say like, hey, if you love VMO, the radio station, you're also going to love our app. Come and see what we do for Monona Grove basketball, and what we do at the school board, and what we do for city council. That's all. It's just using that as a pathway to get people through, because it is recognizable.
So you're sort of like you said, you're associating it with something that's already very positive, sort of like getting it off to a good start right out the gate. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that is common in any sort of branding. You want to take that positive, and if you're going to expand a business or any other sort of venture, it'd be like a television channel that now has a streaming app. You know, it's still ESPN, the app, ESPN, the TV channel. This is Voice of Monona, a continuation of broadcasting things to a common interest, which is Monona. So I think we can look at it from a standpoint of how we want to build it for the future instead of how things are perceived today.
So, devil's advocate, ESPN is video. I don't know, is it? Does ESPN have a radio station? Maybe it does. Probably
they do.
Yeah, they, how much I listen to it. I don't know. Yeah. So it's ESPN radio and ESPN TV or something.
ESPN radio and TV and all the channel and everything.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
So I was not at the last meeting, obviously, but I watched a recording of it, and Will, I think, made an interesting observation that sometimes when the video crew shows up on the scene of an event out in the field, people will say, "Oh, WVMO is here," and that there's, you know, a little bit of confusion about what's the video part of community media and what's the radio part of community media. And I feel like the two products and the two platforms are so distinct and separate and different that they each have something that, you know, could distinguish them, and that maybe this is an opportunity for video, instead of like piggybacking onto the VMO branding, have its own identity and have it be completely different and its own thing. Especially with some of the new ideas that Brennan was bringing up at the last meeting about some new little, you know, quick hit phone video things. And if you're talking about the video of the band concert and the video of the city meetings, that stuff is all so different and appeals to a different kind of audience and different people in the community than the folks I've been meeting who are listening to WVMO. You know, they're listening to that great music format and to the community members talking and the features and things like that. It's different content. It's a different platform. And what concerns me is that if there's any kind of like latching on to the VMO or Voice of Monona branding for the video product, people who go to the video app are going to wonder, okay, where's the radio station in here? Why am I not getting the Voice of Monona or VMO that I'm associating that name with?
Well, and Teresa, I'd just like to respond to that because I know we've talked about that off and on a lot. And many of us, and I think probably Bill did too, started with the video and with Bill Ziegler and Rosemary. And that in many areas has continued to be a strength of the media group. The radio came on like wildfire. It's been wonderful and people have loved it and they're so committed to it. And I thought kind of one of our goals was to keep working at bringing these together. So when I go to a school board meeting and I look in the back and I see 2 students or Will or the rest of the staff there for the whole evening until 11 o'clock, right? And no pizza, sorry. That's a part of, I think one of the things we've tried to do is keep working at bringing us together as a team rather than to keep the separate pathways. Because when the radio came, there was a distinct separate pathway. And it's been difficult to bring us all together. And maybe that's part of the issue here, is that this should be 2 city committees instead of 1. But now you do the newsletter, the videos of all of our meetings and activities, incredible. The summer concerts for the seniors, and then the radio just reaches out and touches so many people. Do we want to continue to try and make this a team, or are we recognizing that that's just too difficult to do? See, I see Monona Voice as being the media and the radio. And if you think about the media as a voice, which it is, if you want to watch the 12 applicants who just applied for a school board position, you can do that. That's the voice. If you want to watch a city council meeting and watch the council people discuss a particular issue, that's a voice. That's a piece of the voice. The newsletter is a piece of the voice. The radio just touches more people in more different ways. So again, I think we have to kind of figure out where we as a group want to be. Do we want to be together, or do we want to keep recognizing these as pretty strong separate entities?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just listening, everybody's great opinions here. And I, more and more I see this list, more and more I add my names in there and things like that. And I gotta agree with Bill here. He brought up a great point. The more and more, how do I want to say this? The more and more outreach and things that I do for the community every single time, VMO's here. It's every single time. And I think that regardless, I think it's going to be, the community is going to be recognizing it as 2 different entities. It's going to be VMO and it's going to be community media. And I don't think we should mix the 2, because I think in my brain, what's going to happen is we get the app and immediately people are going to be like frustrated as heck. Why can't I listen to VMO? It's in the title.
Says right there.
I think that's what's going to happen. And I think we just need to think more about we have 2 separate entities, and that's just what it's going to be.
Brendan, could I just ask you to clarify something?
Uh-huh.
Do you think that community media is different than VMO? Because when you said that just now, I'm like, oh, maybe I have a misunderstanding of this whole thing. When I think of community media, I think of VMO, the newsletter, the fun things that you're thinking of doing with the YouTube now that we have the app. I think of it all under to me, community media is the umbrella, but maybe it's not. Maybe other people don't see it that way.
I see it the exact opposite.
Okay,
I think VMO is radio, and I think community media is all those other things.
Oh, I think radio is one type of media.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But I would just worry about the fact that with the app, people are immediately, like I said, are going to go listen to music and they're going to get really frustrated. Like, oh, well, I didn't sign up for this. What's city council doing on here?
So what's this?
What's this 4.5 hour school board doing on there?
Sorry.
No, I'm done.
Okay. So am I kind of hearing you and Will both have sort of come to this conclusion that maybe calling it VMO is going to mislead people into thinking that they're looking to listen to the radio?
I think it's 100%.
Yeah. And I wonder, when you show up and people say, oh, VMO is here, do you guys have like a VMO sticker on your camera? I mean, is there a reason why people are?
We have nothing.
Okay.
No VMOs, business cards don't say VMO, nothing like that.
Okay. People just need to be re-educated that it's not the same thing. Okay.
It's just starting from ground level again, since we're building everything up again and doing more events.
So does anyone else feel that community media is or is not the overarching umbrella? Are there other folks out there that have, when you think of community media, you only think of like the stuff on YouTube and you don't think of the radio station? This is a great conversation. We talk about branding, this is kind of what we need to.
Well, it's interesting to me because of the newsletter Anita and I do, like, we don't cross promote the radio station or the content on, like, we never promote like video taken from these or high school activities in the newsletter. It's completely more like city news, which makes them feel very separate. So just pointing that out, not saying it's right or wrong, but that's how we're doing it right now.
I feel like we have stumbled on a really wonderful opportunity. I mean, the city, a few years ago, the city put out or hired a consultant to analyze, how communication happens in Monona and where things are being put out, but maybe not being received, and all the ways and all the disparate, we have like a dozen different Facebook pages and, a newsletter and a website and a radio station and, we've got all this stuff, and maybe now is the chance to bring it all under one cohesive, I don't know, maybe this is the branding that we're talking about.
That was Teresa. That was my thought too, that this is an opportunity. We have, again, when we started, it was basically just the cable, I mean, and then they brought the radio piece. And I mean, really, with the exploration and the inventiveness of the piece of the kids at the high school, you don't know what other pieces they're going to want to bring to this. I mean, the city right now, if we looked at what our tasks are for community media, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be in there somewhere, it's going to include everything. So does this app, is this a piece of everything we do or just a piece of a piece we do?
I don't know. What do other people think? Bill, I think something you and I talked about more recently might have a fit into this, but maybe I'm thinking of something else. I don't know.
Are you thinking of the Channel 3000 comparison?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, so there are models for this kind of thing. If you look at the Channel 3000 website, that's Channel 3 where I used to work, where Will used to work, and Brennan, were you there too? Yep. Okay, we got a Channel 3 crowd here, but so Channel 3000 is the website, and then within that umbrella, you've got the content from News 3 Now, which is your WISC TV Channel 3 Madison. You've also got Madison Magazine content, because that's owned by the Morgan Murphy Corporation that owns Channel 3000 and the TV station. And yet they don't call it like Channel 3000 magazine or, you know, Madison Magazine Now at 6. So they keep those products distinct in their branding identity. So everything is part of the same thing, just like our radio station and video and Facebook and the newsletter are all within Monona Community Media. So Monona Community Media can continue to be a thing, and that can, you know, if you want to call it an umbrella or an overarching brand, and maybe if you don't like MCM, maybe at some point there's a better name for it or something, you know, more descriptive or inclusive. But within that one big overall family or umbrella or whatever, you can have something that has a TV identity and something that has a radio identity. The voice, you know, the word voice and the Voice of Monona slogan and all of that, that is a really strong brand, and it just kind of feels like that's already locked down by the radio side. So that's theirs, and video needs to have its own distinct thing, so we don't have this confusion of, you know, when we talk about the Voice of Monona, are we talking radio or video?
Sure. I do associate the word voice with radio more than TV. And then I thought, well, maybe that's just my bias. I know that the word voice has other meanings. I do see your point also, Bill, that that's already kind of locked down, you know, and let them have it, you know, and it's okay that they're separate. I also remember, and this kind of ties in with an earlier comment, like VMO is so successful. Wouldn't it be great if we can just sort of associate something really successful with this app right out the gate, you know? Bring up this new thing to the level of VMO. And maybe I'm just rehashing, you know, what's already been said, but there's also maybe the danger that we could drag down VMO if the app is not successful. You know, so maybe we do just leave VMO by itself. And I think that Brennan and Will have already kind of come out and said as much, that they're not so tied to using the call letters. But now we're kind of to the phrase Voice of Monona. So get rid of all the options on the list that had anything starting with VMO or WVMO. We still have on the list the Voice of Monona, which is part of the radio. And we don't have to hash it out right now. There's plenty of other things on the list that we can talk about. I have if nobody minds, I have a question about something else on the list. And this kind of goes together with this idea that Bill just said, you know, there's Channel 3000, there's News 3, there's Madison Magazine. I had no idea. I didn't think about Madison Magazine, you know. Well, we've got, you know, the My Monona newsletter, the My Monona website, and VMO. If we call the app something that starts with My Monona, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because we kind of got those four things, right? The website, the newsletter, the radio station, and the video. Do we want 3 of those 4 to start with My Monona? Or two of them currently do? My first thought was, let's call it My Monona, because people get that already. But then I'm like, I don't know, maybe not.
I like My Monona too, Teresa. I do. For a lot of different reasons. And some of them are reasons people don't like it. And that is, we already have My Monona as the tagline coming in. But
Right.
if we use that as a tagline, that's going to tell people it's a central part. Again, I think I want the community to continue to understand that WVMO is a central part, as well as the media piece, as well as the newsletter of My Monona. And it would show that there's a non-political side to the My Monona part of the community.
I know
It's
that
just
people are, or there has been some expression in the past that the phrase community media sounds old-fashioned. Susan, you said cable. That cracked me up. To me, that's an old-fashioned word, right? I don't think community media feels as old-fashioned as cable. So at least we don't call it cable anymore.
But that's where I was talking about the history. That's where we started. And a lot of people with old history are still going to call it that.
Right.
Rather than media. And again, that's why I think it's nice moving to the media language.
I do too.
And I think really, when the radio started, I don't think people really understood that the radio was, in fact, a part of this committee, and the council person who chaired this committee oversaw all of that, you know. And the incredible expansion of Will's job in this work.
Frankly, this committee is turning into one of my favorites. I mean, there is so much potential on the work of this group of folks. I mean, when you think about just the communications of a community, I mean, that's a big deal, you know. So, I mean, not that we would be taking over, like, you know, Parks and Rec, not that we would be taking over anything, but we can sort of help to have a cohesion. Katie.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to suggest, and I really hate suggesting work for the staff, but I wonder, like, just listening more and more, it sounds like maybe we're making a lot of assumptions about what people know and what people will do and what people believe. And I wonder if an awareness survey of our community might be, because I totally agree that this is a really great opportunity for the department. And we could know it for sure, right? Like, we could survey and know for sure from the respondents how they would react to something, how they feel about the things that are existing. And then we're sort of making decisions based on what the community is telling us and what we're hearing, rather than what we think the community thinks. But it's a lot of work, and I don't,
it's a great idea.
I hate suggesting more work for them. I know it's hard.
Well, that's a great idea. The really good thing is that we control the newsletter. I mean, we could, like, you know, put a 3 or 4 question survey out there on SurveyMonkey and put the link in the newsletter and I mean, are you thinking of questions like, when you think of the term Monona, when you think of the term community media, what comes to mind? And then have like multiple choice: WVMO, the website, the newsletter, all of the above, you know, the YouTube station, or all, you know,
I'm not a survey designer, so I wouldn't know. I'd want to talk to somebody with that experience, even for something short like that, so that we're not leading people in a certain way, so that we're making sure that we're, you know, there's all sorts of science that goes behind that. But and maybe just a little bit of research, we could do something. But yes, I mean, just a short survey to say, what is it that people know, and how would you, and if it was this, what would you think, or what would you do?
What do you feel the purpose of the survey would be? What's the goal?
I mean, again, for me, it's just to say, like, I'm speaking for myself. I'm speaking for people that I think I could speak for, or people like me. And I think we're all doing that, and we all come from different perspectives and different backgrounds within the community. So I think just knowing for sure, I would like to know for sure what people think. But I guess I would say it's people who respond to the survey. We know what they think, what they tell us. But it's better than the six or eight of us sitting around saying, well, I think people think this. I think people say that.
Yeah.
Ask them and you know for sure.
I mean, just within this own committee, we have two different understandings of what Monona Community Media means, right? So your point is taken. Was there a hand up?
Well, I also just another thought would just be like, is there anything wrong with us narrowing down to 4 or 5 and putting a vote in the newsletter instead? It just might solve the issue, like on the day of the newsletter that we would have.
So we either take a survey. So I think, I mean, absolutely, that's a possibility, Amanda. Absolutely. I just want to make sure I understand. So would the survey be for the purposes of finding a name for the app, or would the survey be for the purposes of understanding what people think about community media in general and what it means and what it's about?
I have a feeling that's what Katie was going after, though I can't speak for her.
Okay.
I mean, yes, but I take Amanda's point too, that like a quick, like, which one do you like is also a lot easier, and it's something that could be done in the week. So
I would also say I never really thought of getting rid of Monona Community Media. I think that is the department's name, similar to Morgan Murphy Media Group that owns Madison Magazine, Channel 3, and 15 other radio stations and TV stations around Wisconsin, right? That's their umbrella, and then they own all these other media entities. But if someone was to say Morgan Murphy Media Group, what does that mean, right? If you didn't know they owned all these things, or if you didn't look it up and figure it out, similar to Monona Community Media, what does that mean? If you didn't know that we had all these under the umbrella, you wouldn't know what Monona Community Media even meant. So I think what Bill mentioned about having identity, and I think that's what everything we do needs to have its own identity under the Monona Community Media umbrella, which is the department's static, stale city name. City department.
That is how I also understand it. Okay. Does it make sense to put out a survey to see whether other people also think the same when the phrase Monona Community Media is mentioned? Is that important to us to know the answer to that question? Does it matter? How does it change our work?
Well, I think it would tell us how many people are in tune with what we do for video, because right now that's the video's identity, which I think is part of the problem. There's no real video identity. It's just this one big word of Monona Community Media.
Got it. So what we're doing here is not renaming Monona Community Media. We are rather separating
the
umbrella term
from
the term of the video. Yeah, go ahead.
I think we just need to focus it. We're not doing anything other than naming an app.
Right.
Let's take everything else away.
Yeah.
And all this big picture stuff, and let's go to the base level, which is we are naming an app for what it is. And it is a video app. That is all it is. Nothing more. It is a stripped down version of YouTube.
I'm glad that we're having this conversation, because I was under the assumption that someday down the road, it was a goal to change the phrase Monona Community Media to something else because people thought it sounded old-fashioned.
Well, that was probably my fault. I should have probably explained more what my vision was. I don't think internally when we do budgets and stuff, that's what people will say, community media.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Under that umbrella, there's identities for each thing we do.
Okay,
and they
so
newsletter is tough, but that's more of a city thing. I feel like we do it, we produce it, but the city kind of owns that. That's not really our newsletter.
So then maybe it would just be simple as taking a vote on what we like out of these 19 names for naming an app type deal.
Right. And that was all my understanding as well, that this was all about naming the app, but I also had it in the back of my mind that maybe somewhere down the road, we were sort of laying the groundwork for changing the phrase Monona Community Media. I'm glad we're not, because I think it's a fine name. I think Monona Community Media is great.
Well, I think this could be the name change for the entire video operations too, though.
Correct.
Right.
But not the department, not the city department. It's
right.
Monona Community Media is staying. I'm happy to hear that. That's good. Yep. So we've got VMO, we've got the video side. They don't have to have the same name, but they're all under the Monona Community Media umbrella. All right. So we've sort of taken off the list any of the things that start with VMO. And I think we may have also taken off the list stuff that is already associated to VMO.
And Teresa?
Yep.
If I can suggest one more kind of
Sure.
a filter or a narrowing of the list. A lot of discussion about My Monona, and what occurred to me is that when I go to the website for the city, for any other kind of city business, mymonona.com is how you get to the basic city government website, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you use that for the app, there's more confusion and people think, am I going to pay my water bill on the My Monona app? So I would suggest screening out all of the My Monona ones off the list.
I think that is definitely in line with the other rationale that we've used. And it's certainly not an issue to start the name with the word Monona. That sure makes it easy, right? Monona Tube cracks me up. I don't know why. The word tube just makes me laugh. It's like what people used to call the TV back when I was a kid. Up, turn on the tube. I'm like, oh, such a funny name. So yeah, we've got some great ones. Monona Go, Monona Live, Monona Media, Replay, Stream, Tube, TV, Video, Vision, VOD. I have to confess, I didn't know what that meant. VOD, Voice on Demand. Sorry for those in the audience that are more clicked into that phrase. Monona Go, Go Monona, that's kind of cool. So do other people feel that the My Monona things maybe are, that's kind of a name that's already taken? Is that, okay, good. Okay, we're on the same page. All right. All right. Anything popping up on people's, anything like sparking?
The three I like just personally. Oh, I'm sorry, Katie, go ahead.
I just had a question about the app. Is it primarily for mobile, or are we thinking it's going to be for like Apple TV, Roku, or is it really like you're thinking of like people are going to use it on their phones more?
All of the above.
Currently,
Will should answer. Yeah.
Currently, all we paid for is to create apps for the iOS mobile and Android mobile.
Okay, so not Apple TV or Roku, just mobile
this year.
Okay.
Next year, we could put in the budget to get on Roku and
TV
and Apple TV and Amazon Fire Stick or whatever if we want. I think those are the three left that they could do.
So okay, to get it on that did you call that like an over the top box? Is that what I heard?
That's right.
You?
Yep.
And that's an extra expense.
It's like 15, probably be like $2,000 by the time we do it next year for each unit you want to do. So right now we're paying like $1,500 to be on the Android, $1,500 to be on the iOS. If we wanted to do Apple TV and all the other ones, it's $1,500 a piece to create an app for each one of those too.
Oh.
So I'll just put my 2 cents in then for the something like the Go Monona or Monona Go, because then you have it on your mobile. You're carrying it literally on a mobile device or a tablet, and it's that you're not sitting down to watch it on your couch, right? Like You're on the go, you're moving. So.
Yep. Monona Go for me is like the pinpoint, like
Yeah.
you're on the go. You get your phone out, you're gonna watch something on the road or whatever. Don't do
Yeah.
that, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
So
I know
about the,
we eliminate. I know we eliminated it. I know we eliminated contention. So my vote probably won't win, but I would still vote for Voice of Monona.
that's okay. You could still say. Just let me throw out something to consider. If we call it Monona Go, which is brilliant for the app on the phone, and then later, I mean, what are the odds that we're going to go with this over the top box thing? Is that very likely to happen? Not likely to happen?
Well, I kind of wonder what feedback we'll get when people all of a sudden look for our app on their Apple TV. They know we have an app, and then they start looking for it. Are we going to get feedback? And if we get enough feedback, then maybe we do. I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm not too sure. I guess budget will play a key. Like, where are we at next year? Can we actually afford to do it next year? No. Well, then I guess we won't.
Is it an annual? Is it every year we pay for it?
No. It's every year
One-time
we pay.
cost.
Every year we do pay to be able to have the apps, plural, any app.
So
we pay to
so
use
from
this
this,
service
okay.
that allows us to stream to it and do its thing. But we pay a one-time fee to actually have it created.
Got
So
it.
we will have to budget next year if we want to keep these apps and there's people that are actually using it. We will have to continue to pay the price to use it continually each year.
So $3,000 for both of them every year.
Yes.
Well, 1,500 each. Okay. Brendan, I'm sorry, go for it.
No, you're fine. I'm sorry. Will, is this app, and just correct me if I'm wrong, this is only for the phones. This isn't for an iPad type deal, just for, okay.
Oh.
It might work with the iPad. That's I think that's on the iOS service. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm pretty sure. I think Apple TV is different as far as how it functions than the iPad and the phone. So yes, I think it actually does work for the phone.
Okay.
But I never asked that.
But folks, a lot of our students use the Chromebook for class and others. They can go on, we have Monona Go. They can go to the Chromebook, search the app, and buy it on there. They have to just have either the iOS or an Android phone or an iPad to get our app, correct?
I believe so. I did not ask those questions. I'm assuming the Chromebook probably does not have an app availability on it.
Okay.
But I don't know because it's a Google thing, not an Android thing.
Yep.
True.
Duh. Okay. Duh.
Then would there still be any place on the city website to view videos?
Yeah, so hopefully we will be able to actually stream the channel itself to the website continually.
The channel, meaning what channel?
Well, just stream whatever we're either streaming live or broadcasting on the channel. Hopefully we're still figuring out all the availabilities with the new software and what we can do to have it so that people can go to our website and watch video too.
But not necessarily the same video that's on the app, or would all the app video also be on the website?
Right. What would be on the website would be just whatever we are broadcasting at that moment.
Yep.
Got it.
Not a bunch of options like YouTube gives you all these videos you can watch. It wouldn't be that. It would just be you go to this thing and all of a sudden you see a video playing and that's what you can watch.
So once the app is launched, that's the only place we can see the videos.
Say that again?
Once the app is launched, then that's the only place we'd be able to see that video content?
Right. But we're going to still put it on YouTube because people are going to keep going to YouTube. I don't think we can just stop posting to YouTube out of the blue and say, go to this app. I think it's going to have to be a gradual thing.
Yeah, we're tied to YouTube for a very long time because that's the bread and butter of what we do. I mean, immediately, if we don't, I always tell the students, make sure you stream. Don't worry about the recording disc. Make sure you stream right away. Even if you're on mute, put up a slide, stream it right away. Because you're going to get those calls saying, I can't see the meeting, or why is this game not on? Immediately just do it.
When you say bread and butter, what do you mean?
Oh, it's like our Prime. You go to YouTube automatically. It's like our Prime deal. Like I make sure, like before we, like last night, I had our student click live 10 minutes before the concert started right away. Just so because just in case, God forbid, something else happened where we had to run out and fix something, we were live right there so people can go watch the orchestra concert without missing any detail. And I just said, put the slide up, I'll mute the audio, and we'll be good to go. So we know it's live right away.
So there would be a transition period. There would be a slow, gradual phasing out or sunsetting of YouTube, but it wouldn't happen overnight. It wouldn't be a hard cutoff. And there would be a gradual transition. Both would be available for a period of time. So right now there's YouTube, then there would be YouTube plus this app, then eventually just the app, eventually.
Maybe.
We don't know for how long.
I mean, maybe, you know, like if we still see we're getting a ridiculous amount of views on our YouTube video, we won't just turn it off, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, those games and things like that, we stream in the concerts, there are probably 300 to 400 hits on YouTube per night. Or excuse me, with the live feed that we've got. So it's like, I don't know if we can ever maybe like go away with it. Because that's, like I said, bread and butter.
And there's a lot of times where there's more than one stream happening at a time, right? So like how would that work on that app? There would just be one live one, and then whatever else is streaming would still be on YouTube. Because sometimes, you know, like the committee meetings or council meetings are at the same time as a concert or a game or something. Sometimes there's more than one game, probably. I don't know.
Yes.
Right.
Anita had a question that I just now noticed. I'm sorry. I hope you didn't have your hand up.
Well, no, I was just saying I strongly encourage keeping it on YouTube. Like my youngest daughter is in college right now, and she and one of her Monona friends in Milwaukee went on YouTube to look at, out of sentimentality, look at all the orchestra concerts of theirs, and they cried and really enjoyed watching that. So I think keeping it on there is very important.
I would agree, because all of our archive stuff is on there too.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think this is just an added way for people to get our content, not necessarily try to replace anything. And maybe 5 years from now, we'll be like, you know what? We don't need this app. Or we'll say we don't need YouTube. I mean, I think it's going to be a matter of how well we promote it and how it's received and how much people actually utilize it, and how much we feel we should continue to put money towards it. And right now it's available for us to provide with the new equipment we bought. So we thought it was important to do that. But media habits or media preferences are tough. They change constantly. So not to say we won't use it, but I think we could also be realistic and say, what's next coming down the pipe? The people who installed our system just started talking to me about how TVs are starting to be smart TVs, and the projector they brought are loaded with their own TV content. Samsung TV has just like 25 channels.
Yep.
And they're just loaded with content of like old Jerry Springer and who is the famous painting guy?
Bob Ross.
Bob.
Yeah.
So they had like just this plethora of channels that you get when you buy this TV and you plug it in. Like, so now it's going to literally the manufacturers of the televisions and the projectors and things are creating their own content and having their own channels. How long will that take to catch on? Who knows? But I mean, it's constant.
Even Ion out of Janesville, on antenna, it's 57.1. They have an app on the Samsung brand new TV I bought a couple months ago. They stream Ion stuff all day long. So Mondays they got certain shows, Tuesdays they got certain shows. So any time of the day, Samsung TV Plus has their own app, and it's just automatic Ion Ion out of Janesville that they're running. So
that's so anyway, I didn't mean to derail us here.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I've got a
I don't think we're getting rid of YouTube probably ever. It's just this is just an added feature.
Okay, so that was also a misunderstanding. I thought that there was some clunkiness about YouTube, and this app was hopefully an opportunity to.
I agree. Hopefully.
Okay.
Right? I agree. Okay. Hopefully it is easier because it doesn't have the 1,000 of videos that we have on YouTube right now. It's going to have like 20, and then eventually there'll be a bunch, but it'll be easier to search and easier to deal with because we don't have a bazillion videos on our channel like we do.
YouTube, I think, will be second best at some point. Monona, whatever, will be first, but YouTube TV will always be our backup.
Got it. Okay.
In my mind.
Let me ask another question. Someone brought this up and I realized in that moment I didn't know the answer to this. So if I go to the app, will I have the ability to watch something that is live or something that is recorded? Both? I don't. Okay, so it's not just, so I get the live and I get the replay of the old stuff.
Yes, it is literally like laid out similar to YouTube. If you went and downloaded like Bedford Community Television, their app, it's literally looks like YouTube. It just looks a lot cheaper because they don't have all the frills and thrills that are, they just don't have the graphics that are,
So I was thinking of I was looking back at this list. Monona Live, not really accurate because it's not just live. Monona Replay, not really accurate because it's also includes the live stuff, So Monona Stream, does that communicate? Monona Go kind of does it all. It's on the go, it's on a phone. I don't know what's going to happen if it ever goes to like a TV, like over the top box, if that matters, maybe not, because even the word go kind of has, more than one meaning. Yeah, you can, the word go can be a lot of stuff.
And there's
how are people? What's that, Brennan?
I said there's apps right now on a Roku, like Fox Sports Go, that's on the Roku, same deal.
Got it.
So I don't think that limits us in the name.
Yeah.
Word go.
Yeah, the word go can also just mean like, yay, go. Going on. It doesn't have to mean like you're on the go. Yeah. What are other people feeling? What are they sensing? It's 6:09 right now. I don't want to push. I have a 6:30 meeting, but we do have other things on the agenda. If we have a clear right now, we can go right now. If we don't, we can always sort of narrow it down to the top 2 or 3. Where are people at?
I'm okay with the Monona Go.
Yeah, Susan likes Go. Bill, what do you think?
I was going to say the same. I'm feeling some enthusiasm for that.
It's very snappy. It's just very punchy, and Brennan kind of likes it. Katie likes it. Will, who else is in the room here? Joe, Anita, Amanda, what are your thoughts?
I like it. Sounds great.
Joe likes it. Yeah. Amanda?
Yeah, the only other two that I like also are Monona TV and Monona Video, just because they're very simple and self-explanatory, but Monona Go is kind of fun.
Yeah, everything you said, I agree 100%. Self-explanatory, easy, logical, yep, and fun. Anita, any thoughts?
I'll just go with the majority. We've been talking about it for too long, so we just need to decide.
Sounds like we've made a decision. Is there a motion to adopt Monona Go as the name of our new phone app?
Also move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Sounds like the ayes have it. This is really great, you guys. This is exciting. we have a new app, or at least we have an app name. So in the next 20 minutes, we've got some new business starting off with. How do we promote the new app? I guess I would think about timelines and what milestones or deadlines we're working on and rollout times and things like that. Will,
if I get everything to them, say by Monday, I think then we're like 3 weeks out.
Okay.
Roughly, but I'll know more.
So maybe what we do is we all make a list, bring your top 3 ideas to the next meeting of how you would promote this app. I mean, and with the varied experience that everyone on this committee has, and each person just goes around and says, I suggest this, this, and this. And then the group says, okay, here are the top 3 things of the 12 things we just talked about. I mean, it's just an idea for discussion.
Sure.
You could also ask everyone to put their 3 ideas, get them to Will ahead of time, but that's extra work. With doing it in the committee, then we can have the discussion.
I would also, in addition to what Susan said, I would also advocate for a subgroup to sort of take this on, divide the work, identify what the scope is, the deadlines. As a committee as a whole, we can all put our ideas on the table, and then this subgroup of people would be responsible for evaluating what will work and what won't work and getting it done. So how about that for a hybrid approach? We come next month, so we're going to be in March. The app is already going to be out. Or we throw, you know, I mean, are we talking like a whole snappy, snazzy marketing campaign? Or are we just talking about a couple PSAs and a newsletter story and a picture of the app? You know, Bill?
I don't know if the city has somebody that like writes press releases or writes content that gets sent to the newspaper, but I would volunteer to write something up in working with Will that we could just send to the community thistle or whatever they are these days. And if that would get it printed and get it in the paper easily and quickly, I'd be happy to work with you on that.
That's great. Yeah, the city doesn't really have anybody who does that.
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous idea. Along with that press release sent to the newspaper, basically the same content can be made into a page on the My Monona website. And on the home site, the landing page, when you go to My Monona, there are those tiles across the bottom. And one of those tiles can have a link to the page, which is essentially the press release. So please do that. I think that'd be fabulous. Now, do we need a graphic?
I was going to utilize the city's graphic in some way that worked within the dimensions of the, you know, I wasn't going to try to make anything different. I want that because like exactly what Katie said, she's looking for the logos and that I want it to be, seamless and not all of a sudden have this totally different look.
Any objections? I think that's perfect. So we've got a graphic, we've got a press release, we've essentially got a web page that I can help coordinate. PSAs, Dave, do you think you could write up some PSAs about the new app? And Anita and Amanda, we've got the newsletter.
Yes, I can do that.
And if anybody has ideas for keywords, search words, feel free to just email me of thoughts you might have. Otherwise, I'm just going to obviously go off of Monona and video and WVMO and Voice of Monona and City of Monona and Monona Grove, you know.
MG.
Right.
I think that's all you need.
I just have one more suggestion for promoting.
Go for it.
Well, I don't know how much control, I don't know if control is the right word, but say you have in the announcers at the athletic events and at the concerts and stuff might be weird. High school announcements might not, I don't know if kids are going to be downloading this, but just having an announcer at the athletic events mention like, hey, did you know you can also watch us on the Monona Go app?
Right.
Something like that. Just have them mention it as much as possible.
That's a great
or
point.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a great point since it's student announcers.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see the students just lining up to get their phones out and like, oh, this is cool. You know what I mean?
Or even something on the bottom of the screen. If you could just like put up a quick like.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Definitely make a graphic of the app and a phone. And
yeah.
Well, and Katie can put it out to the school district.
Right? Yep.
Yeah, we should be able to. Social media, obviously.
What would that look like, Katie?
I'd have to think about it because I'm not sure that it would go to all families and all staff. I'd have to think about, but we could work with Joe Schneider, the AD. We could certainly, Susan, we could have Lorraine mention it. Our school board president could mention it during announcements, maybe during a school board meeting. I'm not sure. I just don't know. We have some rules, guidelines about what we send to families because we can't be like advertising or marketing to them.
Yeah. I was thinking more about the chat.
Yeah. Yep. We could do that too. Yeah.
Getting the word out like to the staff and letting them know that that's another avenue to find information. And then maybe we put it in the school newsletters, just a line saying, by the way, there is this app and you can access media and radio through this app and other things.
Not radio. Just just the video.
Just the video.
Yeah, sorry.
But school newsletters are another place.
Would there be would it be too much to have like a welcome video in the app itself that kind of explains what it is and what it will be?
Good idea.
To initially introduce people to it?
Don't see why not.
We could certainly make a video like that says welcome to the app or whatever. And we could once everybody from this committee downloads the app and I email you and say, hey, it's live, you can take a look and see what you think. And that'll probably help too.
Okay. So far here are the notes that I've taken. We've got a press release, Bill, a couple of PSAs, Dave, newsletter, Anita and Amanda, although that would be in March, not February's newsletter. Keywords to search for, the metadata, Monona video are the biggest ones. And all the ones that Will listed are fine. Sporting announcements at sporting events. I don't know who would handle that. Is that just the media folks in the room that would do that?
Well, the AD could tell the announcers, the live announcers that are there doing the basketball games and, announcing people's names.
But I'm going to assign it. But can we assign it to you and Brennan when that happens?
Yeah. I mean, we can.
Yeah. And then school district communications, that would be Katie, and that would include the newsletter. Maybe, we don't know. You're going to look into that. And then school board meetings. Susan, are you the one that would be talking about that during a school board meeting?
Actually, anybody that's there at the meeting, that's involved with the meeting, such again, Dan, Katie, school board member. I get there is a knowledge that Dan originally was on this committee as a representative of the board, and I think he is incredibly grateful and thankful that Katie is a community member and can now bridge that pathway. So, I mean, it if Katie's comfortable, it would be perfectly appropriate. There's a section, it's not recognition, but it's announcements kind of, and she could just make that announcement.
So you're saying Katie would have to physically go to the school board meeting, or
I have to go to all of them.
She's there
anyway.
There anyway.
Then I'm gonna assign it to Katie. Okay, awesome. So I think that's all. We've got that under control. And then maybe Dave will look into making an introduction video. Maybe not. Obviously, once we all have it on our phone, there might be some more marketing that we're gonna do. I have one.
Teresa, I would add.
Yeah,
I would follow the same path through a city council meeting as a school board meeting, and that is to make an announcement at a city council meeting.
Sounds great. I just wonder, this barky little dog. We're gonna say Monona Go, capital G, little O, right? Not big G, big O. Okay, great. And then next on the agenda, we were just going to talk about, so we've wrapped up promotion of the app. We're doing so well tonight. We also have an opportunity, like some ideas that people have been talking about, that there's really an opportunity on VMO to do, maybe even in the newsletter, to do some public education about some hot topics. Like right now, there is a lot of public communication, a lot of conversations about new developments that are happening, and people are concerned about the new developments. And there's a lot of questions of like the financing, like what is TIF financing and how does it work? This is a fabulous opportunity to educate the public through maybe, Joe, I'm thinking of you, the VMO show. The Sustainability Committee recently sat, one of our city public works guys sat him down in the studio with Joe. They stepped through, 6 to 8 questions, FAQs, and Joe turned that into 6 or 8 little snippets on the radio, little bite-sized pieces of education that everybody can digest. Same thing could be done with TIF financing. Same thing could be done with the Monona transit. There's some decisions in front of the community right now. Do we want to accept an offer that was extended from Madison Metro and bring Madison Metro to Monona? There are some FAQs that are going to be going up on the city website. Maybe we could do the same thing in the studio with Joe Martin. Is Joe still on the line with us, by the way? I have this view that I'm not seeing all the, yep, there you are, Joe.
I'm still here.
Yeah. So it would be just fantastic to sort of take these opportunities to educate the public. And my brain, I'm just thinking of the VMO show, but I'm sure I'm not thinking of everything. I'm thinking of the VMO show and the newsletter. Could this app,
Katie probably remembers this, but originally the Monona Chamber of Commerce used to have a monthly meeting that was basically the mayor, school board people, and they would do, and city people, and they would give a summary of all the new developments of basically, if you looked at how that used to work, that was a major communication tool for this community to learn about what was going to happen next. So maybe you fill that gap.
So you're saying that the chamber used to host these in-person sort of educational events?
Well, it was called, what was it called, Katie? It was
like a lunch and Edgar. It was like education, government. I don't remember. It was an acronym. Yeah. Education. And so I've been in the chamber. Maybe most of you know this already. They're going through some transition. So I think they're working. I've been talking with the president. They don't have an executive director right now. I think they're working to get back there, but it's not there now. So I don't know that I would say like we should replace that, because it could come back, you know, relatively soon. But I don't know details of their plans. Yeah. But I agree, Susan, that was a great meeting.
You could do like a monthly update with the mayor that talks about the new developments that are being considered, major, you know.
So the mayor does have her show on VMO with Andy Kitzler. Katie?
I'm not sure who is the right person, but I'd be happy to share our engagement plan for referendum planning, which we're doing right now, because it's pretty robust. We've been doing it. And it just lays out like the groups we go to, who we go to, how we do that, when we do that, interlaces mailings and PTO and other stakeholder groups. And I'd be happy to share that with someone if that's helpful. Because that's essentially what you need, right? As a community engagement plan and all the different ways to talk to people about all the different things that are happening.
That would be wonderful. For the time being, so we do have the VMO show, we have the newsletter, and I'm hoping that the folks from Transit have sent information over for the newsletter. Have they, Amanda and Anita? Have you received anything from the Transit Commission?
No, not yet, but
okay.
Often things don't come in till Friday or
a
tad later.
Okay. So I'm wondering, Brennan, with the short little videos that you were thinking of doing, would this fit the format? Like 30 seconds with the mayor or 15 seconds with the mayor, or somebody that talks about like TIF financing? I know it's like this really hard to understand topic that somebody could just make it into like a 15-second, like, here's what it is, here's how it works. I don't know if that's something that I don't know.
Get out of here. Yeah, I mean, that's written down in my script. I mean, I'm researching what it means too, so I'll be learning right along with it. But I've got like different, like I said, I got like different people of different topics I'm going to go hit. Like Leah's going to say something. I got her schedule coming up. Jake's agreed to say something. Fire chief is definitely, he's on board. He's like, anything I can do to help you guys, I'm already in. So, you know, and I asked Doug about a few things too. So we got stuff in motion. Just going to get them scheduled on paper, so we're good to go.
Was Jake interested in maybe saying a few things about the trees that were all cut down in the parks?
I mean, I'm sure he would.
Yeah, I mean, that falls explain why that's happening.
Mm-hmm. That falls under the topic of, you know, what does the public community need to know this month?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. So you've got that already in motion. The newsletter's in motion. Is there anything I can do to help the newsletter to get content coming in for you ladies, or are you got it under control? Want me to remind anybody or poke anybody?
Unless there's, I mean, if there's something you definitely think should be in there, feel free to nudge. I just kind of wait to see what comes in and then fill in as needed.
Do you have enough content? Are you having trouble getting enough content?
Well, the mayor always provides, you know, 3 solid, but you know, that doesn't come till Friday night.
Oh, okay.
So
Katie, you got enough. Okay, yeah.
Katie, do you
Katie sent something
about the referendum? It's
in there.
I mean, I think the council can always get nudged, or as far as their committees and commissions. You know,
I would be happy to do that.
I think every month they could get nudged.
I do too.
When is the deadline for content for the next issue?
Tomorrow, technically, but of course, if it comes in a little later, we do not turn it down or anything.
Right.
So.
And what is the day of the week when you publish it?
It's the 3rd Wednesday of the month, so next Wednesday.
Okay. All right. I need to head to a sustainability media Sustainability Committee meeting that started 1 minute ago. So do I have a motion to adjourn? I think we are at the end of our agenda for tonight.
So move.
Bill's motion. Anyone second?
I second.
Nate is going to second. Meeting is, I'm sorry, all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 6:32. Okay. Wow, we accomplished a lot tonight, you guys. This is incredible. Thank you. This is wonderful. All right. I hope everyone has
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks much.
Thank you.